was actually showing was telling me that there's a problem here. There's a red flag that, are we really listening to the science? Are we willing to actually listen to what the studies are showing? Or are we only interested in purveying the preconceived narrative, and anything else should be downplayed?
Yeah, and we should remind people that RFK Jr. is not a doctor. He's not a scientist. He does not have a graduate degree in any of those fields. Here is part of a statement that CNN got from an HHS spokesperson. Quote, "It's disappointing that this individual is fabricating false claims. We remain committed to promoting gold standard research and advocating and advancing public health priorities. Any attempt to paint this as censorship is a deliberate distortion of the facts." And again, to remind people that RFK Jr. has a decades-long record of saying things that are not true about science, just to remind people as a factual matter. But what's your response to that?
My response is, I don't think they understand what censorship means.
I'm not usually a big fan of Jake Tapper, but I do like that he points out repeatedly that RFK Jr. is not a scientist, he's not a doctor. He has absolutely no expertise in the area of which Trump has put him in charge of, which is like a continuous theme in this administration. And yet he's running our once credible medical institutions into the ground, which is so incredibly dangerous and is going to cost lives. Look, RFK Jr. is already a known vaccine denier. And last I checked, there were more than 800 cases of measles nationwide with 2 deaths. And as I record this, that could have already gone up. This is a disease, keep in mind, that was largely considered eradicated. Measles was considered like almost obsolete. But thanks to RFK Jr. and the conspiracy crowd that flourishes in right-wing circles, it's back. Here is Dr. Peter Hotez, who is a globally recognized expert on vaccine science, talking about the dangers that RFK Jr. presents to Americans right now.
He has said he's not opposed to them. Can you explain and also address his concerns?
Well, his comments are insufficient. He grudgingly acknowledges the importance of the MMR vaccine and immunizations when it's the only way we're going to be able to contain this highly dangerous and lethal epidemic. So he needs to be much more of an advocate for MMR vaccinations. And he surrounds it with disinformation, Amy. You know, he says the measles vaccine is a leaky vaccine. I'm not even sure I know what that means, but it's absolute nonsense. It's one of the most effective and safest vaccines we have. A single dose over 90% protection, 2 doses, 97% protection. You know, I'm a vaccine developer, a vaccine scientist. We make vaccines for global health. We've reached 100 million doses of our low-cost vaccines for COVID administered globally, and now vaccines for parasitic disease vaccines. When we're designing our vaccine, our strategy, when we whiteboard this out, our gold standard is the MMR vaccine. We aspire to make a vaccine that's as good as the MMR vaccine.
Kennedy has no business being anywhere near our health institutions. We now have an FDA that is canceling food safety inspections. So like E. coli, listeria, anyone? I mean, do you see what is happening here? America is on its way to becoming a failing nation. Trump and Republicans are destroying everything good that we have ever had. Economically, he's wrecking us. He's tearing down our academic institutions as he goes after all of our esteemed institutions, and rah-rah Harvard for holding fast. We are losing America's best and brightest. And here are just a few comments from a video I did a few weeks back when RFK Jr. and Doge fired over 10,000 people from the NIH and CDC. Very telling. I'm a CDC employee and I received my RIF notice. That's the you're being let go notice on Tuesday. I'm in shock. I've been working since I was 15 years old. I spent the last 16 years conducting research to improve the health of adolescents, expecting mothers, and socially vulnerable populations. I loved my work and team. I was blessed to be an HHS employee. When we were asked to return to the office, it was a huge adjustment, and we didn't have everything required to be effective, but everyone on our campus did what was asked because we are civil servants and it's our job to show up, answer the call, and be good civil servants, is what it goes on to say. I mean, just devastating. People who love their jobs and are advancing our medical science fired, let go on the spot. There's somebody commenting on Trump's cuts to Meals on Wheels, part of the cuts that are going on under the HHS. Meals on Wheels, are you serious? There are elderly people who will actually starve to death. They literally cannot cook or feed themselves. Yep. This comment, my friend and her family voted for Trump 3 times. Now their 41-year-old daughter/mother of 2 young girls under the age of 12 has just been diagnosed with bile duct cancer stage 4. She will not survive. She can no longer work. She should be eligible for Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid because of her condition. With all of the cuts, she will struggle trying to get anything, not to mention the cuts to cancer research. I don't know if they will realize that the way they voted is going to make what time she has left that much harder. I mean, just a tragic story about clearly a family that has been lost in the conspiracy cult. And then there's this one. As an ex-cancer researcher, I have had friends quitting over the past 2 months and returning home to England. One has brought his research group and the research money home with him. Other researchers in vastly different fields are also returning. In 4 years, you won't be able to just pick it up again. Even in universities and even in 4 years, equipment will be not obsolete, but also not be to the standard that will convince scientists to return. More importantly, it will not be of a standard to get international grant money. These scientists who are leaving will include lecturers. So your students will be receiving a lower standard of teaching for 4 years, which will have effects on so many kids just starting out. Plus, loads of you voted for this man twice. Who knows who else you might vote for in the future? The world is frightened for you and of you right now. Ouch. If that is not the most chilling and really tragic statement about how others are now viewing America, why should they trust us when we have put Donald Trump into office twice? And both times he has destroyed everything he touches. I mean, we know that everything Trump touches dies. And this time it is far, far worse. So why would the global scientific community trust America again to send teams back here? We have been for decades looked at as like the shining star of medical research from around the world. And in just fewer than 100 days, it's just crashed. It's plummeted. That's how deep and wide the damage is that Trump and Republicans have done to our country. And it's just shameful. It pains me because I come from a whole medical family. And in fact, Kennedy's threat to medical science is so grave that the president of the American Public Health Association just called for Kennedy to resign or be fired. Is this beginning to sound familiar, people? Like resign or fire him? Like, hello, Pete Hegseth? Anyway, here is what that physician, Dr. Georges Benjamin. As a physician, I pledge to first do no harm and to speak up when I see harm being done by others. I ask my colleagues to join me and speak up. Secretary Robert Kennedy is a danger to the public's health and should resign or be fired. Doge and RFK Jr. have made such a mess of these firings and cuts that many department heads at the CDC and NIH don't even know who's working for them anymore. Like they aren't even sure who's employed for them and which of their projects are still a go and which of those projects have been canceled. Like this is insane. And you want to know who's pouring into science and research right now? China is. Meanwhile, President Dumbfuck is attacking our universities and cutting back science and educational grants and research so that Americans can all be as stupid and as ignorant as he is. Way to go, MAGA. I thought this tweet was really telling. Christopher Ingraham wrote, some of you reading this will receive a cancer diagnosis in the next decade or so. Depending on the type of cancer you have, the research being done right now will determine your odds of surviving 5 years past your diagnosis. That is what is being put on hold right now. And as many of you know, I know what it feels like to get a cancer diagnosis. It is scary as And when I was a kid, breast cancer killed several of our family friends, but it doesn't do that anymore. And we can thank medical science and research for that, for the fact that I'm here today with like a 90, 98, 99% survival rate. I mean, thank you, God, and thank you, American medical research. So I cannot get my head around MAGA heads who are voting against their own lives. I've said it before. It is a damn death cult. So just listen to this sound real quickly from a physician who was talking again about how dangerous he views RFK Jr. running our